honorable bitch. I believe being a bitch is a worthy aspiration. And I'm not the only one. My dog Wanda thinks so too. She's such a good girl. But seriously, I hope that you will agree with me. Even though I know that bitches have a bad rap, and anger has a bad rap too. But the thing is, these bad raps, are not based in truth. You've probably been called a few names in your lifetime, whether or not you know it, and chances are they weren't so honorable or even based in truth. And truth and honor are important, and so is healthy anger, and it's all connected. And yet, so many women, they're not connected to their healthy anger. I see this a lot in my work. And I was one of those women for a long time. Years ago, I used to say to my friends, I am working on being a bitch. And they would laugh, of course. But I was really serious, because for too long of a time, I was anything but a bitch. I was a pushover, a doormat, and too often, I was a victim. It started when I was a little girl. I never knew what was going to make my father explode. He would take his leather belt and punish me. If I stepped in a puddle on a rainy day, I got that belt. If I fell down and I skinned my knees, that belt came off. I never knew what I would do when I was playing that would set him off. When I was 9 years old, I had a new best friend named Lynn, and I went to her house to play. She wasn't home, but her grandmother was. And her grandmother had all these questions for me. And when she was finished, she looked down at me and she said, now you get out of here and don't come back. You're not allowed to play with Lynn ever again. Just like that, she said that. It was really shocking and traumatizing for me. And it broke my heart because on that day, my friendship with Lynn was over. When I became a young woman, my first long-term boyfriend beat me up regularly. He beat me up when I came home late. He beat me up when he thought I looked at the wrong person or even had a different opinion than him. Everyday activities like stopping at the ATM machine or going to the post office or even getting dressed filled me with anxiety because, well, I just never knew what would set him off. Now, I don't tell you these stories to make you feel bad or feel sorry for me. They're simply a reminder that disrespect, dishonor, and abuse are all too common for too many people, especially women. Maybe for some of you in here. And I want you to know that I understand. Now, back then, I had plenty of reasons to get angry, but I was so afraid of anger, so I cut mine off. I had no idea that there was even something like healthy anger and that it was the energy and fuel to help me rise up and speak out and create the change that I desperately needed in my life. But now I know, of course, and I use my life experiences to inspire my life work. And I help women connect to their healthy anger and become honorable bitches when their life doesn't work. Ladies, it is time. It's time to change what doesn't work once and for all. And men, we could use your support. Now, the good news is, we bitches, we are good at changing things for the better. We get it done. And let me explain. Back in the 1920s, the word bitch used as a derogatory name for women was used more and more. What happened in the 1920s? The 19th Amendment happened. Women got the right to vote thanks to the American suffragettes. They had this radical belief that women could only be full American citizens if they had full American rights. They were angry that women could not vote, and they were angry that girls as young as 10 in America could be married. They were angry that young women weren't being admitted to colleges and universities, and the list goes on and on. Their anger fueled great change. But not everybody believed that women needed equal rights. And so they believed that the suffragettes were contemptible, mean, malicious, and just plain bad women. So in the 1920s, when the word bitch was used more and more, at the same time that women had more and more of a voice, it seems pretty clear to me that the American suffragettes were the first American bitches. And I say that with complete adoration for them. Now, here's the thing. The American suffragettes were not mean, malicious, or contemptible. They were awesome. They were awesome, and they were heroic and powerful. And they weren't bad women, but they sure were bad asses in the most honorable way. And their anger, well, their anger was healthy. And despite the oppressive inequalities of the time and being arrested and force-fed in jail, the anger of the American suffragettes remained peaceful. And that is why I say that there is nothing about being a bitch that deserves a bad rap, nor does healthy anger. Ladies, your anger can be your best friend. And if becoming an honorable bitch is the only way to create an honorable life, I say go for it, right? Who agrees with me? Go for it. Yeah. Well, no one told me that when I was younger. And it took me into my late 20s before I even started becoming an honorable bitch. It was when my life simply didn't work. And I needed a lot of support, so I started karate, Tung Soo Do. Are there any martial artists in here? Well, if you are. The late Master DePietro was my karate teacher. He was from South Philadelphia. And in my first lesson, he said to me, Lori, if you're confronted with conflict, walk away if you can. But if you can't, I will teach you to defend yourself and to disarm the person who is offending you. I learned quickly that I deserve to be honored, and no one, not a single person, had the right to assault me verbally or physically. Now, around that same time, I was ending a relationship with a man who was very good at pushing me around with his words. But I'll take credit for that, because by that time, I was an expert at being a pushover. And I had some bad news to share with him, and I was afraid to do it because, well, I just assumed he was going to freak out. And as soon as I had him on the phone and I told him, I was right. He started yelling at me and saying things about me that were simply not true. But this time I was connected to my healthy anger and an inner karate. And before I knew it, these words blazed out of my mouth, and I said to him, if you don't stop yelling at me, I will hang up. He did not stop, so I hung up. That was my first day on becoming an honorable bitch. Without healthy anger, too many women remain silent. And silence is a huge part of oppression. And oppression is a huge part of what makes my blood boil. And it motivates me to speak out for change, just in case you haven't noticed. And that change starts with understanding the truth about what anger is and what it's not. It wasn't healthy anger that hit me with a leather belt when I was a little girl. That was rage. And healthy anger is not rage. It wasn't healthy anger that broke my heart and told me that I was worthless when I just wanted to play. That was being mean. And being mean is not healthy anger. It was not healthy anger that pushed me through a glass door and gave me this scar on my nose that I see every single day. That was violence. And healthy anger is not violence. Healthy anger is a natural human emotion that can motivate you to create positive change if you let it. It can be a simple no to somebody so you can say yes to yourself. Or it can motivate you to travel the country to raise awareness and change laws like it did for the suffragettes. Here's the thing. How you feel is your truth. And you have a right to how you feel. And when you're angry, there is nothing wrong with you. Now, you might not like this part. Healthy anger does not include blame. I wanted to blame a lot of people. A lot of people blamed me. But blame does not assuage healthy anger. It's not honorable, and it doesn't create positive change. How you respond to your anger is your responsibility. And I recommend responding with truth and honor. And that becomes more easy when you connect to the healthy energy inside of you and disconnect from all of the drama on the outside of you. And that requires self-awareness. So I'd like to end my talk tonight with a very brief practice of self-awareness. I've talked a lot about my anger or lack thereof, and I would like to create a little space for yours. And the only thing it requires is a little bit of curiosity, okay? So I welcome you to and invite you to close your eyes. And bring your attention to your breath. Just breathe in and out. And just breathe normally and naturally. And allow your awareness to drop deeper and deeper inside of you as you become aware of your body. And breathe. Now bring to your awareness something that makes you angry in your life. It can be anything. It can be something at work or at home, in the news, or when you're driving, anything at all. Just bring that into your awareness and breathe. And now, here's where the curiosity comes in. Be curious of what's going on inside your body. Notice what your anger feels like and where you feel it. And breathe. And if you don't notice much of anything, that's okay too. Give yourself permission to be just as you are. Just breathe in, breathe out. And then put your attention back on your breath. Put it on my voice. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and join me back in this shared space. Now that was a very brief practice of self-awareness. I recommend practicing self-awareness often, like every day often, and for longer periods of time, especially when you're angry. And when you connect to that healthy emotional energy within you, ask, what message of change does it have for you? My wish for you is that every message of change takes you closer and closer to your most fulfilling life, one that is filled with truth and honor. And ladies, if that means an honorable approach to being a bitch for you, welcome to the club. Thank you.